maybe. There we go. I'm going to make mine a regular line. Okay, and now I want to show you why it's important sometimes to use center lines. Now I want to take this shape and I want to make it into a hole, and for that I'm going to go back to Features. I'm not going to use Extrude because that would turn it into a solid. I'm going to use Extruded Cut. Okay, now the problem is if that was a center line, it would recognize that I have one shape in there, and it would have already selected it. Because it is a regular line, notice it's allowing me to choose one side or the other of my circle. And I'd rather just do, I mean, I could do both as individuals, but I would rather it just, kind of work the way it's supposed to. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it into a center line again. Now it's dotted. And if I go back to that extruded cut now, notice it's selected my circle, and it's ready to make it into a hole for me. Now we have some options here with the extruded, with the extrude cut. Notice it comes up and it says blind. Okay, with a blind cut, I can make that go through the shape as far as I want. I'll make it smaller so you can see the difference. Now see, now it's only going to go cut into there 1/8 of an inch. And if I would go ahead and finish that off, I would just get, I'll go ahead and finish it. I would just get this kind of a shape like that. Okay? What I would rather have had, though, I'm going to just kind of get rid of this whole thing. Okay? Now I'm back to my sketch. What I would rather have is that go the whole way through, though. So I'm going to go back to my extrude cut, and then instead of blind, I'm going to choose through all. And now it's making a hole that goes the whole way through the part. Say OK, and I've got a hole through the part. Okay, what do we think so far? Chime in.
It seems very similar to drafting.
It is very similar to drafting. What you'll find, those of you who have done some drafting using AutoCAD, in AutoCAD it wants you to tell the program exactly how big you want to make something from the beginning. With a program like Solidworks or like Autodesk Inventor, you can draw and then kind of shape it to the right size. And I think that's maybe a little bit more intuitive. When you pick up a pencil and draw something, you kind of just draw, and then you make it fit the size you want. So it seems to be a little bit, to me at least, a little bit more intuitive. I've found that I've learned AutoCAD first and kind of had to unlearn some of that whenever I started on SolidWorks. But I found it's a little easier, and it does work a lot like Inventor. So those of you who like AutoCAD and like the Autodesk products, Inventor works very similar. Okay, let me see in my list of the other things I want to make sure I know you know how to do. Okay, we've done offset, we've done center line. Let's do some complicated geometry on one of the sides here. Okay, so I'm going to do this just to kind of shape it, and let's do a sketch on this face right here. And I'm not going to worry about how precise I am. Let's just draw a circle. Okay, and in fact, let's draw a bunch of circles. And notice when I did that, it allowed me to line it up right underneath. I'm going to also do one that's not lined up. And I'm going to do this one, obviously, a different size. Okay? Something else that this program will let you do is I've now got three circles on this shape. I'm going to select them. There's one. I'm going to hold the Shift key, 2, 3. And I would like them all to be the same size. So if you look over here under Properties, one of the things says Equal. I'm going to go ahead and click Equal. And now it has changed that last one that was bigger than the other two to the same size as the other two. This is really handy if you're making a bunch of screw holes in something and they're all going to be exactly the same. You can just select them all and click Equal. And then if you find that you need to change the size, it'll change them all at the same time. That probably wasn't the best choice because I'm outside my geometry. So let me how about we make that, so that's a radius, that's a diameter, notice the difference there. We'll make it 0.0625. Didn't like that. Okay, what am I doing wrong? I guess it's fixing the diameter. This is how I have to change it apparently. Yep. Yep, sorry. There we go. So once I've given that dimension, I can't change the circle, I have to actually change the dimension. And then everything will work. Okay, so now I got these three holes. Let me get rid of this one. I'm going to show you. And I want to put these two holes, you move them to another spot. So I'm going to select them both. And I'm going to go up to Move. And for Move, I've got a couple options. I can either move it with a from and to. And with from to, I say start right here and move it to right here. Okay? Or I can unselect that, sorry. Or I can move and I can use a fixed X and Y distance. If you're doing something very precisely, this is probably what you'd want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and that looks pretty good. How about move it a ½ inch down? And we say OK, and now my holes have moved a ½ inch down the part. Okay, so move works exactly like you would expect move to work. It does exactly that. Takes whatever you've selected and moves it. There's another option under move, which is copy. Works the same way, but when you do this, it actually leaves the original one and creates a second group, just like you'd expect. Okay, and then let's kind of have some fun with that, and how about we cut those through the part? We'll go through all. Okay, and now we've got holes that go through. Now notice our holes went through the side walls, so we now have like that kind of filleted looking shape. Okay, too fast, too slow? Anybody? All right, must be just right. No, but I'm not hearing from anyone.
Yeah, just right.
Okay, then let's do something with this. Let's go ahead and save this as a part. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and what we want to call it, we'll call it Thing 1. I'm just going to put everything on my desktop there. Works. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and close this. I've saved it. Go back to my regular screen, and let's start something new. New part. Okay. And now I want to just make something to attach to that other part we just made. So I'm going to go, what did I do the last time? Did I do the top plane or the front plane?
I think you did the top.
Okay, let's do the front plane just for difference, so you can see that it works the same way. And I'm going to make a circle. I would like my circle to be the same size as that hole, and I think I made that a ½ inch diameter hole, I believe.
Yeah, I believe it was a ½ inch.
So I'm going to say 0.5. Okay. Feature extrude. And let's make an axle here. We'll make it, how about 8 inches. Okay, so just that simply, we now have a rod. Okay, so then I want to call this, save as, of course, thing 2. Okay, so now I've got two things. I want to stick them together. And so I'm going to go to File, and I want to go to Make Assembly from Part. When you do that, you'll get this window that allows you the choice of either making an assembly out of thing 2 as being the main part, or I could choose thing 1 as being my main part. I think I'll go ahead and keep it thing 2. Okay, and so then if I go over here on the screen and click, it's going to put my part on the screen. Next, I want to bring my other part into this assembly. So I'm going to go up here and insert a component, and I'm going to insert my thing 1. Now notice thing 1 was drawn in the top plane, so it's kind of sitting in the wrong configuration to add to my axle, but that's okay. So I could do a couple different things. I could either go to this rotate component just to get myself closer. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And it doesn't matter how exact we are because we're going to use a command that gets us exactly what we want in a second. And that's fine. And here's the real beauty of using a solid modeling piece of software. If we want to create a complicated system like a robot, all you need to do is make all of your individual parts, or I'll eventually show you that you can download all of the individual parts from the web, from the kit of parts, or from different sites like McMaster-Carr. But then we're going to put them together using this little paperclip thing called mate. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and choose mate, and it's going to allow me to put these two pieces together. I obviously want this axle to ride into the bearing surface of this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the surface of the axle, and when I do, it shows face here, and it has highlighted the entire circumference face of this. Okay. The next thing I want to highlight is the face that I want to mate it with, which is right here. And so when I do that, it kind of puts them together. That's what I wanted. So I say, okay. And now they are kind of conjoined. I cannot take that part and move it out. I can go ahead and spin it, and I can move it back and forth, but I cannot remove the face and the face that are connected together. Okay? And if I want to go a little bit farther and define that a little bit more concretely, I'll do another mate. And now I can, let's say we take this face, oops, I had a face already highlighted, which is, I didn't want, so I'm going to go ahead and get out of that and start again. Okay, mate, I'm going to take this face right here, and this face, and now it will line those up. Now, if you have followed what we've done, this outer surface of the axle and the inner surface, the bearing surface of our first part, are mated together, so I can't move them apart. And this end and this end are mated together, so I can't move them apart. But I can still, one more click here, I can still spin. I can no longer pull this down the shaft, no matter how hard I try, but I can still spin it around. So if we were going to attach this to something else, you know, maybe this is like the robot carriage, this is my axle, and this is some type of an axle pin. Now my axle will rotate inside the inside that bearing block, but it will not come out because I've mated it together. Okay, seem easy so far?
Yes.
Is everybody drawing along with me?